you're here, and it's because of our short time. I want to just be able to get as much time as I can with all of you wonderful singers. So, without further ado, Riley, are you ready? You're muted.
Oh yeah, yeah, I am.
Hello, very nice to meet you, Riley.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah. Tell us what you'll be singing.
So today I'll be singing Les Filles de Cadix by Pauline Viardot. So I have my music.
Okay, I apologize. I had you as il faut pas dire. No?
Oh, that's
That,
fine.
it's okay. I know that I know the Fila Cadiz, so we can go around our heads. I don't have the music in front of me right this minute, but I'll have it. Don't worry. Go ahead.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Dites-moi, voisin, si j'ai bonne mine. Dites-moi, voisin, si j'ai bonne mine. Et c'est moi mosquine, mon ce matin. Vous me trouvez la taille fine, vous me trouvez la taille fine. Ah, les filles de Cadix, ah, aiment assez cela. Vous me trouvez la taille fine, vous me trouvez la taille fine. Ah, les filles de Cadix, ah, aiment assez cela. Ah, 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 les filles de Cadix aiment assez cela. Ignorancioso bolero, au soixante dimanche, et dans ses bonnes gargots, tout cousinou de plumes au chapeau, et les bois à l'ange. Si tu veux de moi, prenons le sourire. Si tu veux de moi, prenons le sourire. Tout ne qu'à le dire, c'est tout est à toi. Passez votre chemin, beau cire. Passez votre chemin, beau cire. Ah, ah, les filles de Cadix. Ah, ah, notre dépassé là. Passez votre chemin, beau cire. Passez votre chemin, beau cire. Ah, ah, les filles de Cadix. Ah, ah, notre dépassé là. Ah, 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 les filles de Cadix sont dépassées là. Thank you.
Well done, Riley. Thank you so much. I'm very impressed with your level of preparedness, your obvious level of singing, which is very high for someone your age. May I ask your age?
I'm 16.
16. Wow. Wow. Good for you. Good. Well, again, I'm just going to be speaking again to everybody, obviously, just because I think I want to kind of everything that I say to be uniformly helpful to everyone. Um, I mean, you're so young, and again, you're so prepped. So just bravo to you and bravo to your fine teachers who have been helping you out through this fun and incredible journey of singing. And I think the best thing I want to do now is just talk to you a little bit about what you know. My specialty is again in getting a voice and a technique kind of working and in line. And it's obvious, like I said, as for a 16-year-old, your voice is very mature and it's kind of it's on in a great path. And I want to just talk to you a little bit about your level of preparedness for a piece like this. You obviously know very well the music. You're very well prepared. I mean, how do you go about preparing when you learn a new piece? I'm just curious.
Well, when I first get my piece, I first just like listen to a few recordings just to
Hmm.
get an idea of what it sounds like, and then I
Yeah.
start on my translation. Um, and then I do the word by word as well as the poetic, and I find it online, and then I send it to my teachers, and then they help me like find ways to edit it and make it better. And then I go on to just learning it with a track that also has the melody in it, and I just do it on a neutral vowel until I feel very comfortable with that, just working on the breaths, or I do it on like vocal exercises like a lip trill,
Hmm.
and then eventually I start adding on the vowels to like the different language that it is, and then until I get to the words and I bring it up to tempo.
Excellent. Very good process, very sound process. Are you fluent in French?
No,
You're
I
not.
just
Okay.
started taking French this year.
Okay, wonderful. It's always hit or miss is when it comes to McGill. It's hard to tell because there's a lot of folks that are from Canada or that are from Quebecois, and so yeah. So I just wanted to be sure. Very good. I want to give you a kind of brief talk about the legato. Can you give me in your mind what legato is?
It's like the flow between the different notes and finding connection between them.
Very good. Exactly. The connection between them. And more specifically and more importantly, and these are the kind of things for all of you when you're first starting off that's so important that you're going to find less so than having a perfectly polished presentation, which you are already very polished. You know, it's just very good. You're definitely on the right track. But I want to kind of put your mind to a little bit something a little more concrete, something a little more stable, something that's that while there's no doubt you're going to have so much work that you need to do getting the languages down, making sure your rhythms are correct, making sure you have some style into it, right? But the most important thing is going to be your voice. And the most important thing that you're going to have with you for forever is these two little vocal folds that are in your throat, right? So in preparing and the age that you are now and getting yourself prepared to learn the music as precise as you know as you have done, but not only learning the music is precise but learning your voice as precise and as meticulous as you can early on. So what I and do want to focus on with you is the legato,
Mhm.
right? And I want to just have you sing it a cappella, right? I have my what key were you in?
I am in F
D
major.
major. I'm sorry.
F.
Yeah. So I would love for you to sing it, but I want you to do it half speed for me. And the legato that I'm thinking of is something where the vowels are connected much more. The vowels that are there, I don't want you to worry so much about consonants. Consonants are not they're evil kind of things that we like to portray them as. They're actually quite helpful, but they do like to run the show a little more sometimes. And as we know, the thing that creates the beauty, creates the sound that we want, really makes our voice carry as you all get older and you're on stage and realize that it's the vowel. As much as we consonants help in that regard, we want to make sure that not only the vowel is clear and it's positioned correctly, but we want to make sure that they're transitioned into one another well. And what I mean by that is that we don't have a lot of very distinct changes in vowel color and in our jaw and in our throat when we're creating different vowels, right? Nevion de voix de taureau. We don't want to say ne du di voix, right? We don't want to chew on the word. So what I would love for you to do is just sing it slowly, half time, half tempo, right? And I really want you to focus on the vowels that you're grading, and I want to just kind of watch you do that, and then we'll talk about it. Is that okay? We're not going to obviously be able to go through much of the piece, but I want to just kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Brava. Very nice, Riley. So now, as we're thinking about doing it, let's imagine that the vowels are a little more closely related. So we don't have vowels that kind of stick out a little bit or that don't cause a lot of action here. And then let's talk about the legato, because the legato that I mean is this feeling. Where it doesn't feel like it's just kind of a little segmented right here. And what I want you to feel is this feeling of like the line is pulling you as you sing and the vowels, right? That you feel compelled to be drawn in to this beautiful flow that's happening with each vowel. And it's almost like this idea of syrup or honey, right? That's just flowing and connected. And it's going to feel a little overdone to you. What I want you to do is make it a little more connected and a little less precise, your vowels. And
Okay.
by precise meaning less precise definition of the vowels in your throat, less precise definition in your jaw. Maybe just if I'm speaking to you right now, I'm just kind of flowing I o, that kind of feeling instead of I o, right? And again, you don't do it that much, but I want you to start embedding this a little bit more inside this idea of the vowels being very closely related and not too overly produced. And in the same token, feel the legato moving you. And in that sense, I would love it, Riley, if you even sang it slower. Would that be okay?
Okay, yeah, that
Yeah.
works.
Good. Good. I loved what you did in the second part of that. It seemed a little more that you kind of got onto this idea of wait, maybe when I do go up into the upper range a bit, I am kind of preparing a little bit or so what I want to just instill is this idea of preparedness, right? So I want you to do it one more time from the beginning and then I'm going to stop you because there was one particular point that I noticed. I think it was going in trois garçons, trois filles, right? So sing that for me. Would it be from the A?
Yes. Okay.
Yep. And do the same, just as slow.
Okay.
Good. So that E that kind of comes up, right? It's not extremely high, but it's high enough that we're going into your passaggio,
Yeah.
right? So trois filles. So when we're singing the ah just before the fille, right? Trois, we have to start making a little bit more of the connection in the space that the vowel is going to change. Not only that the vowel is going to change from a neutral or a kind of a non-lateral vowel to a lateral vowel for I, right? What we don't want, Riley, is this feeling of trois filles, but more of something like trois filles, trois, right? Do you see the difference in that? So that's what I mean by connecting the vowels a little more, where there's as little amount. I'm not saying your jaw can't drop a little, but as little amount as your tongue action or jaw as you can. So sing it again, and this is how you guys should prepare. Sure, you all should prepare. Is that when we see these notes coming up, and it might not for you. That's a little easy, Riley, because you're a very fine singer. When it's easier, it's a little more dangerous. So when we start approaching these notes that are in our passaggio, we need to kind of think about how we're going to approach them. So this is just a good example that maybe you can translate into the rest of them. Do that line again for me. And as you go into the ah, I'm not asking you to modify the eval. It's not necessary. I'm asking you to shape it in the same place as the ah and to prepare a little more for it. Let us know that you're perhaps, don't let us know, let you remind yourself that you realize that we can't have such a dramatic shift into the eval, yeah? So go ahead and do that phrase and then we'll have to move on. Yeah. Did you sense you had toi vie. So if I have a vowel that's this tall and then becomes spread this way, toi vie. Try to keep them just a little more connected and in the same family, as I like to say. And so I don't want to. I felt a little bit of chewing down on that a little bit. Toi vie. One more time. There we go.
That had way more room for me to go up there.
Yes, and the sound actually blew. That was quite improved. The sound actually spun and became much easier. Wow, that was connected to. So let's start in the beginning. Let's go slower with that kind of in mind. So we also have no, right? So it's not nu, right? So now with that in mind, and very admirable that you're able to you caught on to it so quickly. Let's do the beginning again, and let's just go to where we had stopped previously, and then I want you to see if we can. I might stop you again, but let's see if we can keep that in mind. If that makes sense, let's see if we can keep that in mind for some of the rest of this.
Sounds great.
Good. Nice. Very nice, Riley. It's obvious that you're a fine student, that you were able to pick up on that. There was definite moments where I saw you doing that. And it's not about, I mean, there's going to be a point where you can kind of bring in a little more consonants to that because right now it does have that feeling of like, oh, I need to make sure. But in fact, the sound gets warmer and it gets clearer and it gets more expressive, believe it or not. And so what I would love to instill in each one of you is this idea that overly dictionized singing is not the best kind of singing. It's about keeping the vowels. The legato, in the true sense of it, is keeping the vowels even and as closely related as you can, and that feeling of tallness. And as you saw, and it was we all heard, and as you felt, it was easier to sing, right? And then you prep. So it's just about preparing. Riley, you're a very, very fine singer. I would love very much in the future that if if your path's coming this way, I think McGill would be very happy to have you, and all of you, obviously. But excellent work. Congratulations to you and to your teacher for your fine work. You're doing very, very excellent things.
Thank you
Congrats.
so much. This was
Of course.
amazing.
Oh, good. I'm so happy, Riley. All right. So next we have Catherine. Katie, I see, right, Katie? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. How are you, Katie? It's nice to meet you.
Good. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for coming and doing this. By the way, with all of these restrictions and all the craziness going on, I'm just so happy to see such talent being enthusiastic to perform and to learn, because that's what we need, because you all need to be ready, because it'll start back up, and before you know it, you want to be prepared for it. So thank you for being here. I'm so happy to hear you, and let us know what you'll be singing.
Okay. Today I will be singing Bonne Mère by Cécile Chaminade.
Perfect. Away you go.
All right. Nous marchions sous la fine pluie, le ciel n'était que le désir. Le vent soufflait, 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 les mains semblaient toucher la nuit à sa carcasse maigre nue, des fois troublée. Affrontant qui m'a la tempête, étant les pas, baissant les têtes. Il a chanté, 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 et ma voix c'est du passage. Un oiseau dans son cri langage lui bandait. L'air piquant, on y met à jouer. Tout un club de laissez, laissez. En début des livres roses, nous verrons qu'une rose qui refleurit.
Brava. What a voice. Well
Thank you.
done. Tell me a little about yourself. Where are you from? And your age, if you don't mind me asking?
Sure, I'm 17. I'm from Burlington, Massachusetts, but I go to school at Walnut Hill School for the Arts in Natick,
Oh,
Massachusetts.
fantastic. I know that school well. Yeah. Well, it's obvious. Beautiful. Very, very exciting voice. Very nice. Uh-huh. So, again, I think what I would love to focus on with you, and it kind of came with this, I love working with voices like yours in particular uh, that are so in more of a dramatic kind of tinge, you know. I mean, I love working with all voices, but it's more fun, and I'm very impressed with who you're working with. They're obviously doing great work as far as how you're approaching your top and how easy you're kind of doing it, but it's where it's obviously going. It's very fun. So as we talk to me about as you go up to the top, and we're talking about your secondo passaggio, which I'm sure you know is your second the passaggio where things kind of adjust, where probably for you happens around an F sharp, maybe your G, that area where it starts to feel like, okay, this is a little different. You do very well, but talk to me about the idea of any adjustments that you make in going to the top with certain notes, because I'm very curious, especially with the last A natural, how you approach that top, and let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I feel personally in my voice when I get up to around like that F sharp G range, it gets a little like scary up there.
Sure.
And to like hold, especially I notice I have a lot of like jaw and chin tension when that happens. So trying to like drop my jaw but not like hold it like down or anything, just like
Good.
it's like a good balance. That's what I try and think about, and also making sure it's not forceful and I feel like a lot of like spin and like I feel like more head resonance rather than like trying to push it out.
Fantastic. All excellent, excellent answers. Fantastic. And I could see, again, I could see the amount of work and technique work that you've done to do it, which is very rare. Again, I mean, Riley demonstrated it as well. This very rare for you singers here, as young as you, and it's very exciting to tell you the truth. I don't get often chance to work with singers as young as you all, so this is quite wonderful and inspiring. So let's talk about your last A, right? What's the vowel?
Roll.
The very end, yeah, wrote. And I noticed. So let's talk about what has to happen to the vowel. You did all great. You talked about all great things about the breath needing to spin and to move, and not clenching or doing anything. But let's talk about this concept of vowel choices, and the fact that you actually have certain choices of vowels, and what actually happens when we go up higher. And again, this is getting a little technique oriented, and if that's, I hope that's okay with you all. But I love it. But it's the idea that as we get up higher, that voice, that the sound, excuse me, the vowel cannot maintain, depends on the voice. Everybody's different and where it happens, but generally the integrity of the vowel, in order to maintain the desirable formants of sound, the chiaroscuro, as they say, the dark, the lovely dark and the bright sounds that we want, where it's full bodied yet ringing and resonant and bright and silvery and chocolatey, that sort of thing. So when we get into trouble if we try to sing a pure vowel up top, we definitely don't want to sing right. We don't sing a pure O up there. I noticed that you did the idea of vowel modifications. Does that make sense to you and something you know about, Katie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what I sensed in the most of your high notes were quite good. I think the reason I want to do this last one is because it's the final one, but it creates a great kind of demonstration of what I'd like to talk to you about, and this idea of modification and what happened. You modified that to something that was a little more of an or an and I heard almost a raza, right, which is not a bad choice quite often. But I want to actually see what you want to do is find the space. Everybody's different. That's the thing. The idea, so again, just to recap, the reason we modify our vowels is that any idea of a pure vowel as we sing up higher, if you all are sopranos, which I think all of you are, and if you're trying to sing a G or a G sharp and up, and you try to sing a pure ah or an E, right, that's when it starts getting tight and tense, and it's just physically impossible. So we don't sing ah, we sing ah, we modify a little bit, right? And that creates the right space that relaxes our larynx, right? But I think with you, what you're lacking a little bit is this idea of the narrowness of the sound and of the vowel, right? It tends to get a little wide this way. So what we do have to do, A, is think of the vowel a little taller, but find a vowel up there that's a little more neutral, but also gives you a path that doesn't feel like it's just kind of out this way, but maybe gives you a little more of a direct passageway for the air and for the vowel. And I would challenge you to think of something a little more closed, but that's not closed at all. You know the old slash in IPA, like feeling. I wonder if that one might be a better choice up there. Well, first of all, let me tell you, because again, if we're a person, it's always the way when the singers sing again, the second time it's always even better than the first time because nerves and things. But I wonder to tell me if you consciously think about what you're doing up on that A, and do you modify it? Do you have a vowel and choice that you use up there?
When I've been doing it, I've been sort of like, it's almost like an awe position, but like with an O shape. So
Ah,
it's Just like a
What's coming out now is a little of a spread ah, just a little bit. And so I challenge you the idea that you can shape it more into that O. So a good maybe vowel that might have both of those. What we want is something that has both of those qualities, right? We want a good ring. We don't want to go ooh. We don't want to clamp down on it, but we also don't want the vowel to feel like it's not related at all to that more back vowel feeling. So a great balanced vowel that has a great idea, feelings of brightness as well as that kind of more resonant, sound that seems more in line and connected is the O slash or the OE. So don't be afraid also for an A natural for your voice that you can shape the O a little bit with your mouth a little bit. I mean, because right now, even though you think you're wanting to shape it with more of an O feeling, it almost came out. The shape of your mouth was almost square.
Yeah.
So I want you to just try that. If you don't mind, just blasting out some high notes for us again, and think about singing the vowel So it's a little closer to the O than what you were doing, and it's shaped a little bit more rounded, just a little bit more. Do you think you could try that?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So we have. Oh, sorry.
All right.
Good. That one. So let's also talk about the preparation for it, like I was mentioning to Riley, right? The una, believe it or not, Katie, for you is going to be just as important, if not more important, than the high note, right? How we prepare. So this is a very closed word, right? Una, una. What we need to do is we cheat a little bit as singers, right? We don't, and especially with the voice that's going to be that's a larger voice like yours, right? It's definitely the finesse aspect of it's a little harder when we want to be so precise and say right. It's difficult. So what we actually do is we allow the space to get created a little sooner, right? We actually allow the space to be created and prepare sooner, as opposed to like, I don't care about the una, I'm just thinking about the high note. Let's slow it down. Una. So not una. Una rose. You see how closely related that n and a rose are? So when we're actually doing, it's almost singing the exact same vowel. We're almost always already singing the A in the C natural. Does that make sense? Yes. Una rose, as opposed to what you were doing is a little una ra, and it was big like that. So try to prep a little bit sooner. Right? And let's see if we can't find that vowel we're going to choose a little bit earlier in the C natural, even in the una, right? And this is where I know the diction kind of idea of like, oh, it has to be perfect diction, especially in French, it needs to be this. That's not the case, right? Not always the case, especially when it comes to technique things, when we need to always be able to give ourselves the best possible way of success. So the key for you is going to be that C natural. So I want you to just sing una for me first off. But I want you to think about it being a little more relaxed and tall as if you're about to approach, but just sing una for me. Excuse me. Good. That felt a little una. Give me a little more feeling of verticalness. Again, I appreciate and like what you're doing. It is getting a little stuck there. Remember, is a good oo and an e mixed, yeah? So give me a little more of the feeling of una. It's going to look a little like that instead of una, una. A little more vertical. Let me just see what that looks like, and just sing it, just easy. Sorry. There you go. Now that one is going to be well more easily prepared to go into the top. But I'm not going to have you just bang out the A's. This is how we prepare for everybody listening, right? If we have a space like that, we can't just assume, especially if you're naturally gifted or you have a great talent. When you're young, it's going to get you far, but you want to know why things work and that it's something that you can hang your hat by. You want to know your voice intimately instead of just kind of winging a prayer. And this is how I would prepare if I were you, or I would prepare my singer. So I keep thinking we're in in E flat or an F because that's another key I know this. So I keep hitting B flat. I apologize. I just want you to sing that. Une rose. But do une again so we can kind of get connected with and comfortable with that feeling of a little bit more relaxed of an une that's getting us prepared for something different. Just sing that again. Une. Brava, exactly. This is how, I mean, we have a little time. Let's just do this. Une rose. Brava. Let me feel that. Now, this is where we start cheating a little bit because that's how you would exactly sing that if the note was actually D. I want you to sing it as if it was an A. So we give a little more space and I want you to modify the way we were talking about.
Okay.
Une rose. That is the word, right? Now that I'm second guessing myself. Yes. Une rose. So the is in a good spot, but just let the rose and the schwa of the une be a little more in the same family. Brava. Excellent, Katie. Good. I didn't feel like you gave as much credence as you should to the C natural. In other words, slow it down just a little bit and make sure it's in a good spot so that we don't feel it's such a big switch shift going into the top, right? Good. I noticed a little movement of the chin. Is that to help you relax, remind you to relax?
I think
Or was that just something that happened? Okay, good. So, well, let's do it one more time, and I want to bring it up to the F. But just be careful that there's a little moment una rose to the F. Try to do it as a little more activity here. Get the in the good place, but it's just your jaw will just drop just slightly, and that's all your jaw needs to do. Good. Very nice. I want you to do it one last time, and then I want less of a jump and a drastic kind of change. It's almost going to feel like this. Una rose. And right now I'm getting una ro, right? So it shows me you're giving a little bit of an oomph that you don't need. Connect it more, and make the vowels connected a little to make it easier on yourself. Brava. Exactly. So this is how you would want to start going up, and I would say, right? And next thing you know, when you get that all in line, when you find that spot and when you're in that passaggio area, truthfully, as soon as you hit the G, that's exactly where you're going to be as you go up for A's, B flats, B, natural C. There's really no difference other than the kind of the breath pressure and the kind of the intensity of the air that we're using. But I'm just so impressed with your voice and talent and willingness to change and doing it. I mean, just really, really, really great work to you as well, Katie, and all your hard work. Congratulations. And just awesome, awesome work.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. It's my pleasure. Okay. Man, what a great group. Next we have Anjuli. Am I saying that correct, I imagine? I hope.
Hi, yeah.
Anjuli, hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I'm so happy to be able to see you and to be able to work with you. What will you be singing for us today?
I originally said I would be singing Il faut partir, but I changed it to A présent rêve.
That Présent Rêve. That's totally fine. Yep, they let me know.
Yeah, alright, perfect.
I love it. It's one of my favorite pieces, so.
Mine too, honestly. It's so good.
Great. Well, show us how much you love it in the performing of it. Everybody, I mean, just so pleased with you all. Just beautiful. Beautiful job. What a wonderful voice. Tell me your age and where you're from.
I'm 15 and I'm from like Victoria, Canada. So
15.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. Just really, really beautiful work.
Thank
Really
you.
nice. So, with a voice like yours, that's also much like when we're talking to Katie, that's a little on the that's going towards a bit of a heavy. I hate the word heavy. I don't want to say that or bigger, but that's a little more. It's the our chords being one myself are a little bit thicker, so we have, and the sound becoming a little richer. There are certain things that we have to be conscious of and be careful of as you get older. And I want you to remember. So first of all, you have a beautiful sense of line and how you move the air, really well connected, and I mean, it's just really, really nice. When I'm here, I hear a little bit, and it happened before the high note, before the G, and also just in the beginning of phrases, I'm hearing a little of. Perhaps you're enjoying it a little too much, but or perhaps it's just something you're not conscious of. I mean, I know. I sometimes you sing, you just really get caught up in ourselves, right? It's hard not to. We're singers, we need a little bit of that. But what I want to caution you on, so if, for instance, on the second page, tu m'appelais, right? Uh, I felt you really grabbed onto the first note. Then it didn't start flowing until after maybe the second note into the third note. What I want you to feel like is this idea that it might just be that the closed vowels, because I think your closed vowels tend to be a little too close, a little too held,
Yeah.
and it's very difficult with French, and a lot of it happens in Italian as well. The rules in French and Italian are very well, and it's French for sure, are very strict about our closed vowels and what should be, you're right. But again, what the authors of these diction books don't take into account is everybody has a different instrument, everybody has a different tongue, a jaw, right? A different throat, everything. So what's closed for Riley and Katie might be different for you. So what we need to do is find the one that is the freest and the easiest and that has the right sound, right? But what we definitely don't want, Anjuli, is this feeling of holding on with the jaw. And you even did it a little at the very end. Uh, uh, Mysterioso, right? It got a little locked. And again, I think it might be just you trying to be extra diction conscious, right?
Okay.
So, but what we want to be sure we don't do is just because you have this beautiful line and it's flowing and it's through that, but then when that happens, it tends to kind of feel a little held,
Right.
right? So don't be afraid to let those vowels go in addition to letting your breath grow.
Hmm.
And you won't be faulted. You know, it'll sound the thing about those final shadow vowels or schwa vowels, right? They need to be they can be a little more open, but they need to be present as well. It's not something that's we kind of just get precious with, right? Rose, rose. They need to breathe. They need to have as much life as the rest. Because even though we don't wouldn't do that necessarily in speaking our French, they are just as important. Because as you can see, Fauré put a dotted half note on that, so he wants something very uh, he wants something very precise and something very full. But we don't want to do, and even though it's piano, we don't want to do is just kind of get too precious with it, right?
Right.
I would love for you it to just be just as free as the rest of that. But let's go back to the first of all, let's do that phrase with the a cappella. Second page, what I mentioned, the two. Where is it? Sorry. Da dee da dee da dee da da da. Is that the no? Sorry. The tu m'appelais. Do you mind just singing that for me? And careful in the u vowel. It should again. It should feel just as flowy and free as the rest of it. And I was getting a little straight tone too from those first two notes. And what I want you to do is feel like the air is moving before you say the note. So we're not preparing like this. We're
Yeah.
preparing like this.
Right.
It's almost like it's already flowing before the voice even starts. Does
Right.
that make sense? As opposed to like, oh, there it is. Oh, let me get into it now.
Yeah.
Let it flow. Let the voice ride on top of the chords and let it just be like this beautiful, this flowing river of sound, right? That isn't kind of getting held. Do you want to try that? Good. Let's try that one more time. That I felt what I felt there was three individual vowels. To ma better, to ma to. It's harder to do it in that range for my voice, being a bass. To ma better. I want to feel like they're connected and that they're going towards the phrase, which is da dee da dee da da dee da da dee da dee. Right now, it just feels a little too a little too square, right? Let it build. So I know the fact that it's a you have a crescendo going. Don't let that dissuade you from still opening up the sound a little more, right? This is the thing about the musicality or the musicianship, which again you young people have in spades that I keep seeing. But we have to be really careful that we don't sacrifice the sound and the freedom of our sound for any kind of idea of musicality that we might think. So again, I'm assuming this is the case. It might not be, but if we're starting smaller and growing, let's kind of change the parameters in order to get a free sound. We need to have that U be very flowy and beautiful. So we can start it a little bit with more volume, a little more. And then when we grow, it'll still be a crescendo, right? But that's what I want to hear. Now I'm getting a little it doesn't have the birth that I would love from it. So try it again, give it a little more sound and freedom. And again, the U vowel is still feeling a little stuck. Julie. Make it a little more free, but less E vowel and more U into that sound. Let me feel what that sounds like. Brava! Exactly. Beautiful. So, did you feel that felt a little bit easier, I imagine?
There's still
Yeah.
a little bit in there, but I definitely like I know what you mean now. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it's that goes with what I was saying with the others in this idea of every if we have a vowel that's stuck like that or we're doing making that's too and again the closed vowels are always the nemesis when it comes to these things that we really want to get them closed. By the way, also this idea of exact perfect vowels are the things that get us singing spread a little bit and they're the things that get jaw tension, right? So we definitely don't want to be singing like this, you know. I'm not after that at all. But we got to remember what makes the vowel shape, and that's our tongue, the apex of our tongue here, right? And of course, the jaw does as well, how we shape it. And but this idea of being too close right here, it distracts from what your voice and just mostly consistently so lovely and flowy. So do that again. Oh, and I want to talk about the triplets in general. I think because you have the recording, it's hard to really get a feeling of what these Fauré triplets are like, right? But remember, it's da da dee dee da dee dee da. We don't have to make them so exact. We actually have this idea where this feeling where time speeds up but also slows down at the same time. So not time, excuse me, the rhythm speeds up and slows down at the same time, which is a very strange feeling. So if the pianist is just doing this, right? 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Da 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 dee da da dee da da dee da 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 dee da da dee da da da. And when you have a great pianist there, they follow you. So you get that feeling of we expand and then we move forward and then we expand. That's very Fauré. That's very the French Romanticism. So enjoy those triplets. Make them exact, but see what you can do with those. Give them a little more, a little more je ne sais quoi. Something a little, and don't be afraid to slow it down a little bit. Again, it's very difficult with a track. Obviously, it's impossible, right? Because you'll sound like you're a little off. Play around with those triplets a little more, and give me more connection between each vowel leading up to that. Tu m'appelles, that kind of feeling. It's instead of every vowel feeling so, separate. Make them a nice, happy little family. Each phrase, we always work each phrase, each bar in this way, right? Connecting the vowels is so important. Um, and then again, like I said, play around with those triplets. I want to see what you can do with it without kind of diminishing the quality of and the integrity of what rhythm is written. Go ahead.
All right, from two.
Yep, to same place. Sorry. Beautiful. Good. Keep going just for a little bit. And just for a few more measures, and let's see if we can. There's a perfect example of the. I just love that those sequence. Da dee 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 dee. Same thing. Da dee 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 dee. Right. We can do a lot of playing with those triplets, and it's with something like this. It's definitely more internal. Yeah, I need you to feel. You need to feel like it's coming from somewhere different. So don't be afraid, even in your even now, to kind of feel that out a little bit. And I want you to just one more time sing. How about from Avec toi? Or Pour m'offrir. Could you sing from there? And then, so when you get to the triplets, give me something different. Something that feels a little, like I said, that's just kind of like that, ooh, that French kind of. And don't play around with the rhythm a little bit. Play around. If you have a great pianist, they'll be able to sense what you're doing. Right now, it just feels a little square. And then we'll have to wrap it up. So from there. There you go. It's beautiful. And that's the beautiful thing about this. There's literally like 7 to 20 different ways you can do that. I don't say more than 20, but there's lots of ways you can do those triplets that where you're within the right, where you're in bounds to do it. And because your voice is very well produced and it's very beautiful, you don't ever give up on that kind of idea. And now, if somebody wasn't as proficient as you, maybe technically, I would say let's keep it straight and do it. But if you're going to sing this song, don't be afraid of the beauty in those kind of lines, and be a little more bold and courageous with your kind of with the fact that you were able to do it. Because again, you're a very talented singer, so there's no reason not to start playing around with the styles a little bit more. Really beautiful job. Lovely to hear you.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Mariek, not last but not least.
Hi,
Hello.
Rico.
How are you?
I know I'm good. How are you?
Well, thank you.
I know we're short on time, so I can do something shorter if
Well,
that would.
let me refer it to our moderator there. I have no problem you singing the Faust, but I just want to. It is a pretty long one. But I mean, we did think we have a little bit of grace period to go. We definitely want to give you the 15 minutes for sure. That everybody else has been getting. So your aria is what, about 5 minutes? Are you okay with that? And then working about 10 minutes after that? Is that okay,
Yeah, that's about
everyone? Okay.
4 minutes, so that's
And
fine.
Jennifer too? Okay, good. Great. Oh, it's only 4 minutes. Perfect. No, I would love to hear you sing this. One of my
Sure.
favorite operas, so I'm looking forward to it.
Wonderful.
Oh,
Thank you.
you announce the piece for everybody though, please.
Okay, I will be singing the Jewel song from Faust by Gounod.
Thank you.
Oh Dieu, que de bijoux, oh son rêve charmant qui me plaît. Oh si je veille, mes yeux n'ont jamais vu de richesse pareille.
métamorphose. Il me tarde encore des yeux, le bracelet, les colliers. Dieu, c'est comme une main qui sur mon bras se pose. Ah, 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 j'ai ri de me voir si belle dans ce miroir. Ah, j'ai ri de me voir si belle dans ce miroir. Est-ce toi, Marguerite? Est-ce toi? Réponds-moi, réponds-moi, réponds vite. Ah, c'est l'état ici, c'est le moyen ainsi. Comme une demoiselle, il me trouverait belle. Comme une demoiselle, il me trouverait belle. Comme une demoiselle, il me trouverait belle. Marguerite, ce n'est plus toi, ce n'est plus ton visage. Non, c'est le vrai roi qu'on salue au passage.
Brava, Maria. Thank you so much. Lovely job. Very good. So I'm always so again. May I ask your age and where you're from?
Yes, so I'm 23 years old and I'm from South Africa.
Wonderful. All right. So where I really want to start focusing, and again, it's wonderful to see a singer as confident as you, who kind of can go there and just let themselves out and act and do all these things. It's again, it was a difficult thing for me when I first started off to kind of come out of the shell of like, I'm a little shy, but once I went there, it was great. But the difficult thing that you and all of us face is this idea of when we're this kind of gregarious or this kind of confident in where we're doing, or at least able to show a confidence on stage, is that we want to make sure that we don't let it kind of mask and use it as an attempt to maybe hide certain areas of the voice that maybe need a little bit of fixing. And I don't think you're doing that intentionally, but what can happen is if you are that prepared and are that kind of into a piece, we lose a little bit of what the voice is doing. It's more difficult to tell. For example, you do have an intensity or to kind of lift the shoulders. I'm sure you've been told that. So that would be something that we would look at. The same thing with the idea of moving the head this way and that way, right? Which can cause a little tension and kind of doing the side eye look like that. I understand 100% what you're doing. And again, let me reiterate, I applaud the work that you put into this work. It's obvious you know the character, but what we need to be careful of again is we need to focus kind of first and foremost, which is what? The voice, yeah? The voice being there. So I hear a soprano sing this, and I bet you could do it, which we'll experiment a little bit, with just staying completely still and just showing it in the face and letting the voice do the work. But that's difficult, right? Especially if we're not feeling 100% confident about our voice in certain parts of the pieces, to just kind of let it be as it is in its most raw form, right? So what I'm going to challenge you to do is to sing it again for me, just a cappella, please, from the very beginning. We won't be able to go through all of it, but what I want you to do is also, I'm sensing a little bit of extra jaw tension that's kind of happening with certain vowels. And it's hard to pinpoint exactly where it happens, but it also has to do with your very dramatic and very exciting acting of the piece. So what I don't want to do is just like I say about musicality, I was talking about that, we have to be sure, and I'm very much included, and I work on my voice all the time, right? We have to very much be sure that our voice is in line and that every note that we sing in a piece that we present, especially in an aria like this, which is it's an important piece, yeah, that we are presenting it in the best possible way, that our voice first and foremost is going to be in line to sing the correct vowels and the correct words. Then we pile the character on top of that, right? and then we add these kind of little things. But my first instinct is to say that's a little too much what you're doing. But what I also would think that's going to be really helpful for you, Mariek, is to I want you to just sing it as if it's an art song, like a lied or a forêt. I mean, I just want this feeling, and I want stillness here, right? Stillness here. Doesn't mean you can't move just a little bit to make sure we're fluid, yeah? And I want to feel like every word is about 30% less enunciated. That we're just moving air and we're just making a beautiful sound as best as we can. And I want to see what that kind of feeling is to you of just being able to sing it that way. And I know in your mind you're like, well, that's an aria. It's supposed to be big in that. And yes, you're right in a lot of senses. But I just want to kind of get you back to square one and see if we can kind of get a settled approach and kind of offer our presentation based on that, as opposed to I can act it really well and I know the words really well and I know the style, which you do, again, in spades. Let's see if we can bring it from something a little more internal, which is going to be our own voice, our technique, right? Do you mind trying that for me?
Sure.
All right. So again, almost just like, I'm not asking for you to be a singer that's not exciting. And what I'm asking for is to let our voice be the first level of excitement that we hear. And then everything else is just kind of an extension of that, as opposed to I'm excited with my body and my face and energetic and my voice is secondary. Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry, from audio or?
No, it's from we're doing it from the recit. Que vous là?
Oh, I cut it.
Oh, you didn't do the recit. Of course you didn't. Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
Where would be a good place to start then? Remind me where you start. Oh Dieu. Thank you. I'm sorry about that. Si. Oh Dieu. Good. I'm going to have you start that again, and don't prep for it. You did a little bit of right? I want you to feel as if the sound is coming from just somewhere a little more simple. And it might not be as dramatic and it might not be as loud or maybe as interesting as you want to make it. I just want to hear, oh dear, very simple, right? And I don't want to see a lot of extra movement as you do it. Just take a good low breath. Let the jaw open just a little bit and let the sound come out that way. That's right. Good. Try it one more time. Excellent. See, already in my mind, I know, but I have a really kind of attuned ear for this, but that's already more interesting. Believe it or not. I know that's probably like, what? But I don't understand. It just comes from someplace a little more honest. Yeah. Do it again. Careful of oh Dieu. Don't use that D. Oh Dieu. Oh Dieu. We just go right to the vowel. You don't need that D to give it, especially a D, which is a tough one. It's giving a little bit of a little pressure going up to it. Oh dear. Let the vowel right on top of the pitch, and just our consonants are just little springboards. Pop. Real simple. Yeah. Try it one more time. But I love the sound already. Nice and easy, just like you did. Beautiful. Keep going. Beautiful, Maria. Can you do it without this feeling that you need to kind of do this? You know, I'm literally I don't want you stiff by any means, but this I think is a little bit something to you that's helping you relax or maybe be a little more expressive. I literally just want to say the words as easy and as connected as you can with as quiet as you can in the body. Good. From Que des bijoux. Beautiful. It's so much more beautiful that way. I don't think you understand, Maria. I mean, it is so much more interesting and more beautiful. And what you did before, by all means, please don't understand. I'm not saying like, why did you do that? I understand why you did it 100%. But this idea, and someone as smart as you and is as good as actress as you, it feels like I have to give everything all at once. But to trust that just your voice can tell the story without a lot of extra kind of work, and then adding subtle little things, right? It could always be a smile this way. It could be a little hand this way, but it doesn't have to be so much in your body. And I mean, it really made a distinct difference in your sound. Do you mind just keep going? Let's start in the aria. Wait, let's see. Yeah, yeah, right on the aria. Is that right? Just nice. Good. So that's obviously not a difficult thing for you to do, right? I one thing, just be careful. I see a little, the jaw tension happens a lot on the E, and it tends to want your jaw kind of wants to go to the side. A little bit like that. Didn't look exactly like that, but it's just a little bit. So the next step for you, for first of all, I mean, I got more colors from your voice that way and more freedom. And I, in all honesty, if I was listening to you in an audition, or if I had you on, what we do now in video, if you just did that with just your face smiling, the very minimal, it would be graded at least 10 points higher than the last time you did it, right? And again, I can hear the beauty in your voice. What we worry about is that kind of extra thing. Not only does it bring tension, but again, we wonder, okay, where is the voice there? Does she know what's kind of going on? And it's obvious it's there, right? It takes a lot of courage though to just stand and do that. It's very exposing. That's the other thing, right? It's very vulnerable. And this kind of stuff is as impressive as it is to be as showy as you are and really kind of give all of that. It also is a kind of, I don't want to say a crutch, but it's a solution to being a little sensitive, right? To maybe being a little shy, and a little vulnerable. So I love this idea of you being vulnerable, and we as singers need to be vulnerable as we can, right? Without a fear of like, what are they going to think? What is that? Because again, like yourself, I'm very gregarious kind of actor on stage. As when I was young, it was just I would chew the scenery, right? I want everybody to look at me, right? But it was masking a little bit of just a fear I had of like, oh, I hope they like my voice, so I'm just gonna give them a whole package. You obviously proved just now that you can do that, and I really, really, really highly recommend, Mariek, that you break down all of your pieces in this manner. See what you're doing, look in a mirror, go slowly. Am I doing too much jaw there? Get all of that straightened out, and then start adding this beautiful character to it. And you might actually find that because your voice and your instrument's a little more tuned and a little more relaxed, that you can actually explore with more colors. You don't have to do so much with your body. You can do more with your voice, right? You can do things that actually come from a more honest place and a more for this genre. That's what's needed, right? Because as we know, if we can watch just someone on stage just do this and sing, and it just moves us to tears, it's amazing, and it doesn't need any more else because it comes from something a little more internal, yeah. But it's a really, really fine voice, and again, I applaud all the hard work that you're doing, and I wish you the best of luck in doing it. But I really, like I said, really, I would recommend this very highly for you. This line, just strip it down, make it a little simpler, and then that beauty of that natural voice comes out. Yeah. Thank you so much, Maria.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you, all of you. I
That
mean,
was
I'm so
beautiful.
yeah, I'm so impressed with this level of singers that come in over here. It's just so fun. I'm sorry that it had to be so short, but if any of you have any questions, I mean, I don't know, I could pull a plug for my university, for McGill. I'm at matthew.trevino@mcgill.ca, but you could find me in the directory at the McGill and Schulich website. But I mean, it's just such a pleasure, and thank you all for being so diligent and practicing and getting your vocal tracks going and working so hard, because we need more fantastic young voices out there. And it's just really an honor and a pleasure to be able to meet you and get to work with you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Amen. Thank you everyone so much for being here.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Thank you so
everyone.
much. Good luck with all the rest of your, I don't know, is this the last day today? Right?
Last day.
Last day. Oh, all right. Well, I'm sure it was very successful, and thanks for putting it on and helping out these young singers so much. And
Of
to all
course.
of you, just have a great rest of your summer. Keep practicing, and toy, toy, toy for everything. Okay.
Bye
Bye,
everyone.
everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, you're welcome.